Hey peeps, it's Tripl-L, and today I'm here to talk to you about Boku no Hero Academia or My Hero Academia Chapter 100 Special Moves. Now if you followed me for a while, you'll know it. Occasionally this happens where I upload something really late. I am sorry, but life happens. Anyway, let's just get right into it. Let's talk about the chapter, because overall I thought it was a nice chapter. For a chapter 100, it's not a lot of incredible things going on, but it's just, I guess, another day in the life of Boku no Hero Academia, and it was a fun chapter. So this chapter has, I guess, two pretty important parts. I think it's pretty much, it's majority one thing, and then the second half is the setup for the next chapter. So in the first half, we get to see the power training. We find out that this is what they were intended to do at the training camp, but now they're here doing it, and it's bringing up some interesting questions. The question I had from going in from last week was, what's a special move? I mean, like, everyone has powers. Like, what makes a move special? And it seems to be the way the teachers are describing it, and the reason for why you have a special move is because if you're able to use a special move in a stressful situation, it kind of means, you have stability, you can bring confidence. And special moves are also powers or a specific way of using your ability that accomplishes a purpose. So if you look at Kamui Woods, he can manipulate wood, he can turn his limbs into wood, produce it out, propagate it, but in propagating it, he can manipulate it into a special form where it actually serves a purpose of capturing villains. Conversely, on another student who already had a special move developed, Ida and his reciprocal, since he can push himself to the limit and move really fast for that period of time, it's considered a special move since it's kind of going above his original quirk's ability, or it's just taking his quirk's ability to the natural progression. So in terms of special moves, it's a weird distinction, but it seems to be those abilities that use your quirk and take it to a slightly higher level. And then we have to also look when we see characters like Bakugo, who already had his special moves established. His special moves also rely on his gear. His gear can store sweat, and that allows him to do a special move. So this chapter ends up being about special moves, and it also ends up being about gear in a way. It's the gear in terms of how important is gear to a hero. Now, before I get that, I do want to just leave some more, or say some things about some moves that were going on in the chapter. We find out that Ochiko is kind of trying to improve her ability to float so that she can use hand-to-hand combat while floating, so hers fell under quirk improvement. And then we see other little snapshots of other characters trying to do things. We see that Ojiro is kind of changing up the way he fights with his tail. We saw that Mina got help with her acid spray, so that was pretty cool. We also saw that Todoroki, he has one little panel, and it looks really weird the way that flame's coming up. It's the panel where there's 3 other people with him, and it's a weird panel. It looks like he's making a fire wing just because of the way that the fire is actually being detailed. It looks like it might be a wing of fire, and that would be really cool if he came up with something like that, like give him the ability to fly. That'd be really cool. And let's see, any other characters doing special moves? Well, we got Mineta doing his Grape Rush, so that's okay. And Kaminari's talking about making an electric sword. So I guess that leads way into gear again. So how important is gear to a hero? Well, we've seen it be really important, and there's a conversation popping up in some forums asking, well, is Deku going to become over-reliant on gear? And I don't think it's an issue of becoming over-reliant on gear. Rather, it's having gear that will naturally boost your already positive parameters. It's gear that will help you accomplish something that you can't really accomplish, but it's really synergistic with your quirk. For instance, Bakugo. We see Bakugo who has something that can store his sweat so that he can use it for later. That's a pretty nice fallback to have, especially in the case where he just can't sweat anymore. It's a nice ability. Then we look at other examples of gear, some more non-intrusive ones, like say Aizawa's. He has goggles that specifically block his eyes so that people can't see where he's looking, so that aids him in a way. We see that Ida at the end of the chapter kind of wants to go and find or get an upgrade to his radiator so that his reciprocal burst wouldn't be as taxing on him, because that'll help him in the long run. Are they becoming over reliant on gear? I don't know. I think that's a pretty hard thing to say. Now, will Deku become over reliant on gear? Well, I think it'll serve as a crutch, and depending on how he like treats it, maybe it will become over reliant. Like, if the worst case scenario is if one of these guys loses their gear, would it negatively affect their performance? Would they fall apart altogether? Bakugo wouldn't really, because he's wild enough. Aizawa wouldn't really, because he has the experience. So when it comes to Deku, I think it's just a matter of experience. If Deku gets enough experience under his belt, it won't really matter in the long run. But regardless, I am interested to see what Deku wants to get for his gear. I think it'd be, actually I can't imagine it. Like, what could he get? Like a brace that would help his arm? I don't know. It's an interesting topic when it comes to Deku, but as a point of interest, when Boku no Hero Academia was originally a one-shot, Deku was actually a salesman for a company that sold gear to heroes. So it's really neat that Deku's kind of going back in that direction, and I would really like to see what he comes up with. Heck, but Deku has so many utility belts on his actual costume. I think it'd be okay if he like carried a lot of other stuff into that utility belt. Like, man, flash grenades, I think that'd be super cool, but that's just a topic for another day. Now, on to the topic with Deku, there's one other element in this chapter, and it's All Might. I just want to say props to All Might for showing up in his muscle form just for that one instant. I kind of like it being used for comedy now. But we see All Might show up, he's looking pretty cool. He's got a book on how to be a teacher, it's all marked up. So he's really putting in a lot of effort, and he is trying to tell Deku, like, Deku is still copying All Might. And in all honesty, every time I saw Deku doing the smashes, and we all know this is what All Might's referring to. We've all seen it. Deku's done it so many times. It's actually weird that Deku hasn't realized what All Might's telling him. But Deku does copy All Might when he copies the smashes. And, I've never really liked the smashes when they come from Deku, just because they aren't him. From the very beginning, they were something that were more attributed to All Might. And it's just kind of jarring for me personally to see Deku replicate them. So when he got full cowl, I really thought that was a really nice ability. Like, the idea of turning on his quirk at 5% the whole time. I think that's something that's unique to him, because it's controlling his quirk to the point where he can actually do something with it. And so if Deku is able to come up with more really interesting abilities based on having super strength, I think that'd be really cool. Man, if he could clap his hands and cause shockwaves as his special ability, or as his special move, I think that'd be really neat. I think that'd be far enough from All Might that he could do whatever he wanted. So I kind of really just want to see what Deku's gonna do with gear, where he's gonna go. So okay, that's pretty much my whole little talk on powers and gear. I think Deku will be okay if he gets gear. I don't think he'll be over reliant on it. Gear is a natural part of being a superhero, it seems. Everyone's got gear that kind of helps them in one way or the other. We've got who else has notable gear? Todoroki does it. Suyu kind of does, but hers just kind of helps her in swimming. No, I think that's everyone I can think of that has weird gear. Yeah, I think so. Other people have example of gear not being on them, like Cementos. He has a whole building that's dedicated to his quirk so that he can manipulate it into a way that it can actually help students. And that's pretty cool. So now let's talk about other elements of the chapter. Let's talk about the fun thing that happened at the end when everyone's walking to the support department and all of a sudden a giant explosion, and in our face we see lots of boob. Oh man, that was funny. That was really funny. I was told that the author was practicing drawing sexy pictures on the last pages of volumes, and I think it's now coming through for him. I think it's coming through for Deku too, like, oh, poor boy. And now the big question is Ochako going to be jealous? Is she going to be bothered? I actually think this is pretty tame. It could have been a lot worse, but it was funny to see. And everyone's freaking out over the boob shot. I think it's, yeah, whatever, man. Like, it's funny. I think it's great that we got Hasume introduced like this again. It's funny to see her, and it's funny to see Power Loader just kind of annoyed at her going for whatever she wanted to do. So that's kind of hopeful for next week. I do very much trust Hatsume's ability to help Deku, so that'll be pretty interesting next week. It'd be nice if her and Deku have this relationship of supporter and hero. I think that'd be really cool. let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Oh, Bakugo. Bakugo had a nice little moment in this chapter where he was talking to what's his name again? Plasm? Was it Electroplasm? I think that's his ability. Well, you know, it was talking to the ghost guy, the one that makes the clones, and he was being really polite. He was saying please. Like, I think that's a really big step up for Bakugo, because at the end of the day, Bakugo is a good student, and I'd like to think he's respectful, but now he's just going wild and trying to get stronger. Overall, I like that little moment. So let's see, is that it for me? I think so. I've talked about quite a bit I wanted to talk about. I talked about the little points of the chapter. Overall, I'm pretty excited to see where we go in terms of Deku's power development. And for this chapter, I'll say it was it's effectively a setup chapter. I like that it started by giving the lesser known characters a bit more time. Like Ashido got time, Ojiro got time. That's nice. I think it is the author being aware that these characters do need a little bit more time in the spotlight. But let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me, peeps. And like I said, I think I just like this chapter. It was a nice little chapter just to pass the time. It's not as exciting as chapter 100s usually are, or as significant as chapter 100s usually are, but I think this was okay. I think last chapter was the one that was going to be significant. So anyway, peeps, I like this chapter. Tell me what you think about it, and till next time, have a good day.